Recently, Phil Heath underwent 2 surgeries for 2 very large hernias after the Mr. Olympia. Mrs. Heath uploaded a long post which is no longer on her Instagram. Fortunately, Luimarco was able to capture this post and make a video out of it, so thank you, Luimarco. Summarizing this very long post, Phil had one hernia that was above his belly button that spread 2 inches wide on each side where his upper intestines were caught within the torn tissue and muscle, and a lower abdominal hernia which was part of his umbilical hernia. The lower hernia was so bad that it tore from side to side, up and down, causing Phil to have a 3-inch hole that was an inch deep and had 4 inches of his small intestines hanging over that hole. The doctor pushed his intestines 5 inches back down into his abdomen and tightened his abdomen together and closed the holes. This was life-threatening to say the least, and the doctor had no idea how he managed to live with this. In 2014, Rich Piana uploaded a video, RIP Rich, on HGH abuse in bodybuilding, distended gut from growth hormone. He'll explain it a lot better than I did. I knew I threw a bunch of words that I barely understood. Here it is, pay close attention, and hopefully Phil Heath can recover from this devastating surgery.
My question I have is, does growth hormone give you a distended gut? Now, I get this question all the time, people talking about it, and my honest opinion is everybody knows the answer, everybody knows the truth, but obviously the people that are taking GH, they don't want to admit deep down inside what's really going on. I can tell you fact, without a doubt, taking growth hormone does make every single tissue in the body grow, including your heart, including your intestines, including your brain. Every single tissue in the body grows. Depending on, how many receptors you have and which area is gonna determine how much growth you're gonna get in which area. Now, what happens is the intestines in the stomach grow. And as the intestines grow, the stomach runs out of room. There's no more room for the intestines. So the weakest link is the belly button. So the intestines will bust through the belly button because they're growing too big to fit in the stomach wall. And as you can look at just about every professional bodybuilder out there, eventually we all get herniated belly buttons. And this is caused from the growth hormone, the intestines growing. We will get the herniated belly button fixed, sewn up, and more than likely it will bust through again if we continue taking growth hormone and continuing having our intestines grow. And eventually what happens is the abs will split apart. The abs will literally split. So you get a hole in the belly button, it busts through, you sew it up. You keep taking growth, the intestines keep growing. Eventually the abs will split apart and start to separate. And as you can see, you can look at certain bodybuilders and you will see a 2 to 3 inch gap between their abs. Well, what that is that's their abdominals ripping apart because their intestines are getting too large. And I'm not knocking anything, I'm just educating because I want people to be aware of what they're doing. And I found this out the hard way. I noticed my stomach was slowly growing. This was about 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And, I got a herniated belly button. Went to the doctor, got it fixed, got it sewn up. And I noticed when I got back on the growth hormone, I would get pains down in that area. My intestines were pushing up against my stomach wall. And I realized that, my intestines were growing. And did I want to continue to have my waist get thicker? Does that make any fucking logical sense when it comes to bodybuilding? Makes no fucking sense at all. Bodybuilding is about having the smallest waist possible. If your waist gets thick and you get to the point where you have a gut, you have completely went against every fucking reason to be a bodybuilder.